Righty, there we go. Alrighty, well, hello everyone. Today it's just going to be me. My dad is traveling currently, so I'm going to be sharing all the slides today, going over all the information with everyone. So this might be a bit of a shorter one, but today we're going to go over CRM and database mastery. Now, your CRM and your database is the largest source of referrals. It's also the most expensive source of your referrals, whether that is past clients, friends, family members, really anyone that you know. Your database is your sphere of influence, and consistent communication with them creates repeat business. That's where those organic referrals are going to come from. You worked hard to get those people in the first place. You made friends with them. You gave them a great experience. Now they're there to help you build your network of clients and referrals. So, the reason why a strong CRM is important is it prevents opportunities from slipping away. And top agents, as well as top loan officers, build systems, not just contacts. And the pro tip for all of you, every person you know should be in your database. Just like I said, you know, a friend, a family member, an acquaintance, people that you have on Facebook that you might be one, two, maybe three people connected away from should also be in your database. You should be working that database consistently because there are a lot of agents out there. And just like on my side of things, there are a lot of loan officers out there. And I can't tell you how many times I have had someone, post about buying a home on Instagram or Facebook. And I had a personal connection with them and they didn't use me. And I didn't know that they were in the market. Maybe they didn't even know that I was I was a loan officer or that you were an agent. That it always hurts to see when that kind of stuff happens. So managing that database and having a good, strong system in place for it is very, very important. So what information are you going to track? Obviously, name, contact information, phone number, email. The source of the lead is something that a lot of people leave out so that you can track where exactly everything's coming from so that when you're evaluating your business at the end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the year, you are able to see, where is my business actually coming from? Is it coming from friends? Is it coming from past clients? Is it coming from Facebook, Instagram, lead spends, any of that kind of stuff? Birthday and home anniversary dates, those are two very, very, important ones because we're building relationships, with these folks. We don't want to be forgetting, their birthdays. Everyone loves their birthday and home anniversary dates. Most people remember at least around the time, a week or two when they moved into the home. Oh, we've been in here a year. Oh, we've been here 5 years. Oh, we've been in here 10 years. And to hear from you just keeps you top of mind. And so, family, personal notes, buying and selling goals, all of those pieces of information are is what's going to allow you to continuously follow up with them, give you a reason, to call them. Hey, how are the kids doing? Hey, I saw that, little Johnny just graduated, from high school or college. That's amazing. Uh, Being able to throw in, the relationship helps you stand out. Just like this pro tip says, notes create relationships and help you stand out. When people remember stuff about us, makes us feel good, makes us feel special. So, when we're working with people every single day, it's hard to keep track of all of it. So having a system in place for this to keep all this information in one spot. So when you think, oh, I'm going to call Mr. Jones, you can open up his contact and see all this, information. Next, organizing your contacts, creating categories and tags, separate buyers, sellers, investors, past clients. Oh, let me move my camera here. Separating buyers, sellers, investors, past clients, using lead source tags, prioritizing hot, warm, and cold prospects, removing duplicates regularly. So all these things, you can automate them, and some systems, depending on which CRM you're using, will automatically do some of these things for you, and that's always nice. But there's no perfect system out there, so you want to be able to track it, in a way that's going to make sense to you, not just using, the cookie cutter categories or tags or lead sources that they give you. You want to build a system within whichever CRM or database management system that you choose that's going to work best for your mind, your lifestyle, your business, and is going to help you keep track of your daily activities, those touch points, the people that you should be calling, when you should be calling them, how you should be calling them. That's what these systems help with. And if you're unorganized, or if you're just using the your notes app or the notes portion, in their contact, in your phone, you're gonna lose people. Most of us have hundreds and hundreds of contacts in our phone, some that never even texted or called. We don't know why they're there. We don't remember, who they are. All the more reason, to keep track of those kinds of people, in your CRM. If it's just, some random person, you met out on the street that you have no idea who they are, do you really need to put them in there? That's up to you. But creating these parcels to and boxes to put them in is what's going to allow you to do those theme days that we talked about a few weeks ago. I'm going to call my, you know, current clients, current pre-approved and actively searching clients on Monday. Tuesday, I'm going to call and update, those who are in contract. Wednesday is my past clients. Being able to just go in your system and click a tab to be able to get a list of these people and when you last talked to them and what you last talked to them about, so that you can have those conversations, is going to be invaluable to your business. And a clean database saves time and increases follow up. Going through a disorganized system, it creates a headache for all of us. Looking at a jumbled mess of contacts is never fun. Keeps us, from doing the activities we're supposed to be doing. So with that being said, the follow-up systems, what you can implement with these CRMs and these database management systems, creating automated drip campaigns, scheduling calls and reminders, sending monthly market updates, and staying top of mind all year. The fortune is in the follow-up. We talk about it pretty much every week in every kind of category that we're talking about. uh, Following up and staying consistent, staying top of mind is what is going to get you business. Whether that was a person that wasn't ready to buy, and they said, I'm going to wait 1 year, 2 year, maybe even 3 years, they're seeing lots of other agents. They're meeting lots of other agents. They're filling out inquiries online. They're less likely, to go use someone else if you are constantly at the top of their inbox or their phone messages, leaving them a voicemail, or just checking in just to say hi and seeing how the kids are doing. So those organic follow-ups, those calls, those personal touch points, that is never going to change no matter what system you use, in my opinion. If you are just solely relying on automation, follow-up systems to, you know, handle everything, people are going to be able to tell when you're using, this is just an automatic message. I get them all the time. You just swipe it away, but hearing your voice or seeing your face, that's a completely different thing. Automation should be used to keep you consistent as I've said before many, many times, as a safety net because we all have lives. Now, next, with CRM, daily habits, adding new contacts immediately. We're running around all the time doing stuff throughout the week at showings, doing open houses on the weekend, sporting events, family, friend events, and whatnot. Being able to keep track of those and add them in so that you don't lose anyone is very, very important. A lot of people will just hand out their business card and say, give me a call whenever, whenever you'd like. Nowadays, most of us, handing out cards is just another thing to hold on to. Not many people are, just, oh, I'm gonna keep this, posted up on my fridge, and I'm definitely 100% gonna give you a call. Definitely not gonna forget about it. But being able to be there and get them at least in your phone contacts. Many CRMs have an app, a mobile app. So getting their name and phone number and saying, hey, you mind if I give you a call, this week? It doesn't have to be, every Monday, weekends is where we're gonna meet a lot of these people, out in the wild, open houses, sporting events, family, friend events, like I said. So utilizing, a mobile app and saying, hey, here's my business card. And then put them, hey, what's your number? What's your email? I'll get you in my system and we'll have a chat, this week. And then again, with those automations, completing the scheduled tasks, once you get them in your contacts, you tag it or put it in the category of new contact, new buyer. It'll set up, that task for Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Put that appointment on your calendar and have a consistent, steady pipeline. So, you know, all throughout the week, and I do it, myself. I'm always, consistently cleaning up my CRM. So spending 15, 20 minutes a day, first thing, in the morning, or at the end of the day. I do 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes before I'm about to, log off and go do, the rest of my, evening, making sure that everything is in order because we get pulled in lots of different directions throughout the day. So we just want to make sure that everything is updated, that we're not losing anything. Things are properly tagged, organized. We have our schedule. We have our pipeline clean and smooth managed. We know when our appointments are and, where those milestones in transactions lie. So, like I've been talking about with the automation, there's several, different ways to utilize, this technology and this tool. And again, I want to stress the importance that this is a tool. It is not, something that's going to be able to do everything for you. You know, if you're building a home, the hammer or the nail gun, can't, just on its own build the house. There has to be someone using it. So you can't just, set all these things up in one day or one afternoon and just click a button and then it runs your whole business for you. Again, it's a tool, so it's there to support you, make your life easier. So using things like email campaigns, again, to stay top of mind, setting up text reminders for clients or for yourself for anything throughout the process. I have text reminders set up for my clients to get their documents in after we've had a loan consultation and say, hey, now we're going to need your W-2s, your pay stubs, our 1099s, your bank statements, all that good stuff. So a tag that I have is docs requested, docs needed. I tag them with that. And then my automated text messages and emails will, ask them Next day, hey, we're able to track down those documents, send them an email. In 2 days, hey, just want to check, is there anything that I can help with? And then, I myself will be calling to check in on them again to stay top of mind and remind them, that we're here. We're here to help them. You know, People get sidetracked in their own lives. It can take, just a little bit of a nudge and reminders to be able to, you know, and get them through that pipeline down that home buying journey path, getting them to that next step. And again, things like campaign text reminders and task sequences are there, one, to help keep you organized and make sure that nothing, slips through the cracks. Again, we all get pulled away in many different directions in our lives, and, personal and business things, are going to slip through if you're trying to do it just organically. But this will ensure that, you're at the very least, if you do forget something or you are on vacation or you're putting out fires, that, those contacts in your database are still, get in touch. Using AI tools for follow-up, syncing your calendar and mobile devices. Again, pretty much every CRM nowadays has a desktop and a mobile app for you to utilize. So wherever you are doing business, whether it's on your phone or on your computer, on your iPad, whatever it is, all of those things are working in sync. Because you might, be running around all weekend doing showings. There are, sometimes there's 20, 30, 40 minutes in between those showings and the drive time that you could call someone, or you can set up, an appointment, or have, people be setting up appointments with you. Many CRM tools have a calendar and booking page. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with those, but setting up, open times connected to your calendar for people to be able to book a call in a time that's good for them. Or those folks that find you on Facebook or through other lead sources are booking, times with you. So that's why it's important to be able to, sync all of those things, because we're not all sitting at our computer all day long. We don't want to miss anything. We want to be able to have access to this information whenever it is that we need it. Like we all know, this business, it never stops. So again, the pro tip, and this goes hand in hand with, it is a tool, and it is a safety net. Automate consistency. Create consistency through automation, but don't build the relationship through it. You know, I'm sure, people appreciate reminders, but they can tell, there's nothing that's going to beat, that in-person, connection, that organic phone call or voicemail or text. That's what's going to build the relationship. The automation is just there, to support your pipeline, keep things from falling through the cracks. So a good database growth plan, to add 5 contacts, I would say anywhere from 3 to 5 contacts daily is great. Reconnecting with past clients, that's where you're going to find a lot of your money at. It's a little bit different. On our side of things, some folks might refinance every 6 months, but they're not, buying a home or selling a home every 6 months, unless you're working with investors. So reconnecting with them and asking for the business consistently, that's where you're going to be able to grow your business and access a lot of that untapped potential, untapped business. And that's what I meant, at the very beginning when I said your database is, your most expensive asset. And rarely, is anyone using it to its full potential. You spent time, money, and effort building those relationships. Those are folks that already like you, already trust you, you've built a relationship with. Some of them might have been, a friend or a family member. Uh, Many of them could have been complete strangers, but now they're not. Now they're friends. And friends refer friends to people that they trust. So calling them saying, hey, happy, home buying anniversary. How are the kids doing? Hey, did you do that improvement? Did you ever, get the get those kitchen cabinets that you wanted? And hey, by the way, do you know who else might you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? And many times, in my personal experience, people are more than happy, to give your information out, to recommend you, to other folks. Especially, this is especially important while they're going through the process or just recently finished the process, or are just starting it. Because when people are buying or selling a home is 99% of people's biggest financial investment of their life. When they're talking to other people, coworkers, their friends, their family members, anyone, they say, hey, what's new? Oh my goodness, we're trying to buy and sell our home, or we're trying to buy our first home. And I've gotten in these conversations, myself. Oh, we were thinking about it. We were thinking about moving, or maybe it's time for us to buy. Oh, realtor, Jones, Mr. Jones, my realtor, he's doing a great job with me. Why don't you give him a call? The same thing, with loan officers. Hey, they're taking real good care of me. Why don't you call them? Again, giving them something of value. Again, the other week we were talking about buyer consultations, or listing appointments, communicating your value in there, and giving them something of value. They're going to give that to other people, and then asking them to do that. It seems like it's an overreach, but I promise you it's not. I struggled for a very long time, with the feeling of asking, hey, could you, refer someone else to me. It's about how you ask for it. Hey, do you know anyone else that might get some use out of what I've given you or what I've done for you? And you can do this by hosting client appreciation events, or showing up. I know lots of agents that show up to that, home welcoming party. They have that barbecue after they get settled and the dust settles and everything, you know, stopping by, dropping something off there, just showing appreciations. That, to me, that counts as a client, appreciation. Being there in person, or at the end of the year, throwing some kind of holiday thing for, all your past clients, figuring out how to, keep that relationship warm. And then measuring, your conversion rates throughout all of this. I think, one of my biggest things is that you can't manage what you don't measure. Being unorganized, not having a database, not having a CRM, just using your phone contacts makes it very hard to measure your conversion rates, or where your buyers and sellers are coming from. All you have to do is organize them and tag them in the proper way. And pretty much every CRM at this point has a tool that you can just click on it and click some filters, and it will show you those pie charts and bar graphs and line charts and everything about your volume, who you've been working most with, sellers, buyers, where they're coming from. If you can't, if you're not measuring that, you can't manage it, and you're just running around, trying to get more business like a chicken with your head cut off, for lack of a better term. Uh, because if you're sitting there, what is my next step to growth? What's the next step for me as an agent or as a loan officer to build my business? Well, the past year, 2 years, a lot of my business has been coming from Instagram or Facebook or from past clients or these, specific kinds of past clients or and whatnot. This is what I, did with them. This is what was working. How do I capitalize on that? If you don't know any of that information, you could just be spending money or putting your time into effort in the avenues that aren't going to prove to be very very fruitful. You should be putting your efforts into what is actually working, and then evaluating what has been working, what can I improve on, but what do I what do I really need to capitalize on. So not just measuring conversion rates, but just measuring everything that you can in general so that you can manage your business and become consistent. The agent with the largest and best managed database usually wins. And that is true time and time again for all the reasons we had just gone over. So, final thoughts and an action plan. Your CRM and database is the most valuable asset in your business. Consistently following up with people, whether they are, a brand new lead you've never talked to before, or someone you sold a home to, or sold their home, 5, 10 years ago. That's what's going to generate referrals. Staying top of mind, systems and automations to help you stay organized and productive so that you're not just sitting there, all day trying to, run people through this pipeline. It can take up lots of time from, what is actually generating revenue in your business. Small daily habits create long-term success. I've had plenty of days where I'm like, gassed. I'm not going to organize, anything. It's probably fine. You do that for 1, 2 days, it's like losing sleep. If you lose sleep, one night, it can set you back, a week. If you lose two, it's even worse. Three, we've all been there. It can get pretty hard to recover, especially if new people are being added to that database every day. They're going to get lost and in the, hullabaloo of it all. So small daily habits, like those 15-minute cleanups that we talked about at the beginning and the end of the day, very important. And the agents who manage their database best usually close the most business. You don't always need, a human assistant or a transaction coordinator. This can be easily implemented if you're a solo agent, if you're on a team. Lots of teams have their own preferred, or brokerages or companies have their preferred CRM systems. But whether you have actual people there to support you or not, you can build uh, an assistant out of this CRM to manage that for you. And if you are managing it, that's going to increase your business. So don't wait until you need business to start working your database. Build relationships every day. Again, small daily habits, doing the right activities. Build relationships every day, and your database will become your most reliable source of repeat and referral business. So a lot of agents that I talk to every day, their biggest frustration is the ebbs and flows of business. Oh, I've been so busy, with these 5 or 6 clients, running around, answering their questions, putting out these flyers. Now they're all under contract, and I have, these 2 listings coming up. I don't have time to prospect. So when you're caught up in those in transaction or on the market, activities, that takes away from prospecting time, from database management time, from, calling, upon those folks. So, having those theme days, setting aside specific time for that handles it, in one way. Uh, but when all those transactions are wrapped up and all those homes have sold and all those buyers are moved in, and you haven't spent any time working your database or trying to add to it, now we got to work our butts off for another month or two so that we can build those clients back up. So I think what a lot of agents and loan officers are really complaining about when or their frustration lies in with the ebbs and flows is consistency and predictability. You know, many of us in this industry are working commission only. So unless things are closing, we're not making any money. So, uh, and that's why when I hear agents or loan officers that are saying, "Well, I'm part time right now. I really love doing this and doing well, but I'm just trying to get to that full time. I want to do this full time." You have to be able to have produce predictably. So again, the CRM and automation is a tool to help support that in your daily life. Again, so nothing falls through the cracks. And the biggest thing that you're going to get out of it is that uh, you're going to become predictable. And once you're tracking it, you can see where your volume is at and what you can expect in terms of income each month. Is at the end of the day, this is a job. And when we have no idea, where our next client or where, our next source of income is going to be coming from, that can be scary. And that, again, being scared, being nervous, that takes away from prospecting, generating revenue, working your database. So, closing quote: the money is not in the leads itself, it's in the relationships you build and the follow up you consistently provide. So, follow up, we could talk about that all the live long day, managing it and measuring it and tracking it. The money is in this database with these relationships. So, the best advice, I could give anyone is go out there and, look through some CRMs, make appointments with some sales rep to walk you through it. Go, research them on YouTube, and watch other people, walk you through it and see what it has available and find one that's going to work best for you in your business. It's not a one size fits all kind of thing. Just get one that is at the very least, gonna allow you to be consistent with managing it. Again, because the money is in those relationships in that past client database, not in that next lead. You have no idea where they are coming from. It's in the sphere of influence of your current sphere of influence. That's how I always put it. So that is the end. I just want to thank all of you for hopping on here, spending some time with me. We went a little bit over, but I love, talking about this kind of stuff and helping anyone. So just remember, I'm always here to answer any questions or help support you in your business. So is my dad. So with that being said, take care, everyone. Have a good one.